Second, we are already building a large-scale recovery and rebuilding plan for Ukraine after the war, and we need a strategic international support plan for Ukraine that will be a modern form of the historic Marshall Plan. That is money, technology, professionals, and growth opportunities which are required to return to a safe life, modernization, and social development. The restoration of Ukraine must now become the same historical example for our time and future as the restoration of European countries after the Second World War.
Let's bring in France 24's Dave Keating. He joins us live from Brussels. Dave, we heard it right there. The Ukrainian president saying his country needs a modern-day version of the Marshall Plan. What could that be?
Yeah, I mean, he was stressing in his remarks here to the pledging event that this war won't only be won on the battlefield, as he said, but also in the economic and financial aftermath, which comes in rebuilding Ukraine. And of course, he's referencing the Marshall Plan, which was the U.S. investment project to rebuild Europe after World War II. He knows his audience here. He knows he's speaking to European countries who benefited from the Marshall Plan. Of course, Ukraine, like other communist areas, did not benefit from the Marshall Plan. That was only for capitalist countries within the American sphere of influence. But it is still a very, very popular program here. The Europeans who lived through that era remember it fondly, but also I think young Europeans have learned about it in school. They know how beneficial it was. And so this type of appeal, I think, is very, very effective. He also, President Zelensky, stressed the huge need for relief that's coming right now. This pledging event is at the moment in particular for Ukrainian refugees. Right now, 12 million Ukrainians have fled their homes and half of them have left Ukraine. Most have come to the EU and a huge amount have come to Poland. That's why this pledging event is being hosted in Warsaw. It's being co-hosted by Sweden and Poland. And so these funds are supposed to go to them. Now, the last time they did the Stand Up for Ukraine event in Warsaw, they raised 9 billion euros. They're hoping to raise more this time, mostly to support those refugees, because those refugees have been able to come into the EU and live and work for up to 3 years and also draw on the social systems of EU countries. There is, of course, fears that particularly these countries in the East that don't have a lot of resources are going to really be suffering hardships as more and more refugees come and are drawing on the system. And so a lot of this money is going to be going toward that. Of course, the money will be specifically channeled through the Ukrainian government and UN agencies to distribute it in the best way possible. We saw European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen announce that the EU is pledging 200 million euros for this effort today.
Yeah, in that address, Zelensky also mentioned Ukraine's desire to join the EU, saying it must be granted candidate status in an expedited process. How will the EU member states react to this?
I doubt we're going to see much change on that. However, President von der Leyen just a couple of minutes ago, responded to President Zelensky's request and said that she believes that the billions of euros that will go toward redeveloping Ukraine after the war, combined with government reforms, will firmly put Ukraine on the path toward EU membership. Now, it's not the first time she said that she personally supports Ukraine's path toward EU membership, but this isn't her decision, not her decision in any way. It is a decision for the 27 national EU governments. And on there is a very, very big split. There are plenty of governments that think Ukraine's place is not in the European Union, that they should have some kind of associated status, but taking on such a huge country, it would be the second largest country if it joined the EU, a country that's so far away, a country that will inevitably have unresolved border disputes, is just not a realistic scenario, and that some kind of outer ring of cooperation is more realistic. Now, the Commission has expedited this process to have its recommendations toward candidate status for Ukraine, also for neighboring Georgia and Moldova, but I doubt that that's going to go anywhere too fast in the Council. There is still a wariness to start the candidate process for Ukraine when there isn't, as a lot of people see it, a realistic feasibility for them to ever join. They did it with Turkey in the late 90s at the insistence of London and Washington, and there's still a lot of resentment about that, particularly in France and Germany, which opposed opening that candidate status for Turkey. At the time, it was thought it wasn't real. They were just opening it up to keep Turkey in line with the West. That didn't really work. And now they have this kind of embarrassing open accession process with Turkey, even though everybody knows Turkey will never be in the European Union. That is the consensus opinion here in Brussels. And they don't want another situation like that with Ukraine. So they don't take this opening the candidate status lightly, and they don't want to open it if there isn't a serious intention to have Ukraine join the European Union.
All right, France 24's Dave Keating there reporting.